All right. Okay. I can't hear it.
Turn the microphone.
Five, four,
Take it.
you're on there.
Yes, yes, this is Antonio Lipscomb. We're excited to have another broadcast here today. Black Power presents. As you can see, we got some great guests
I'm
that
not hearing anyone.
come on our show here. And so we're just excited about what's going on. We're actually in Kentucky right now.
Is it unmuted now?
Tennessee right
I
now.
still can't hear anyone.
Just trying to enjoy ourselves on vacation. As we know, we're being challenged with this COVID virus. It's a lot going on today that we're living in, but we're still standing strong, and that's what's most important. So we're going to ask that our guests come on in a second. We have your mics muted for a reason. We'll unmute your mics when it's time to come on. But we're just excited about this broadcast. Black Power presents, and what we would like for you to do is like, share, and post this video, as well as for those callers, you can simply call 317-239-1310. That's 317-239-1310. And I just ask that you all just stay with us. We're just looking to have an exciting broadcast today. We have with us Harry Dunn, which is, a matter of fact, I just let Harry introduce himself and tell us what he's about.
Well, hello, Antonio. How are you today? Thank you for having me on.
My pleasure.
Again, my name is Harry Dunn. I'm with the Him by Her Collegiate School for the Arts.
Yes.
And so I'm excited to be here today. I appreciate it very much.
Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about your school and how that's going for you? Matter of fact, before you tell us about the school, can you tell us the reason why you started school in the area that you're in and so forth?
Absolutely. In 2014, me and my wife, Michelle, started off on this great venture to enrich our neighborhoods from where we came from. We came from the 46. We were raised in 46218, and we could not be more excited to fulfill something that we've been working on since 2014, and that was to bring a school to the neighborhood with wraparound services.
Can you hear me?
I believe that's Antonio. Are you able to hear me just fine? There is some technical difficulty that we're having here. I'm hoping that you all can hear me. As I was explaining before, we started off in 2014, and here we are now in 2020. We have what was originally the Forest Manor Middle School. We've now purchased that middle school, and we have started Him by Her Collegiate School for the Arts. It is just that. It is a school for the arts. Arts covers a wide variety of different subjects and topics, and we could not be more excited. And in fact, I'm sitting here now, and I'm looking at this massive building, and I just can't wait until it fills up with young scholars. We have great talent that has been recruited as our educators within the building. Our school leader, Sandra Town, our vice principal, Ron Clark, are leading the way and championing the cause inside the building. We are starting off kindergarten through second grade. We're at 4501 East 32nd Street. You can visit and enroll at www.himbyherschool.org. And we're looking forward to making sure that we keep your baby safe during these COVID-19 times. We are in compliance with CDC guidelines, with the Marion Health Department guidelines, as well as our governor's executive order. And we will be doing in-person schooling at Him by Her Collegiate School for the Arts. So if you're looking for a place to go, if you're looking for a school for your child will be loved up on, we'll be teaching them right where they're at. We have a culture relevant curriculum, and we'll be excited to have you there. You can actually arrive at the building in person, bring all your proper documents that it takes to enroll your child. And we have staff standing by Monday through Friday from 9 to 3 p.m. And so again, we couldn't be just any more excited than what we are now, looking to get started on August 17th. Again, with in-person classes being held by our educators within the building.
Okay, we thank you for sharing. We have with us Representative John Bartlett. John, I'm gonna mute your mic, man, so we won't get the background status, man. That's what I'm doing back here, Doctor. But go ahead and talk with us about what your vision is for the school. I know you're serving on the board. John, we can hear you. John? Hey, John? Representative Bartlett? Okay. Well, we're gonna ask that our good friend here, John, we got you. We were able.
There he is. Now he's unmuted.
John, let me handle this on my end, okay? I have a way that I can mute you and unmute you. That way we're not fighting each other over this thing. I was picking up some background. I'm able to unmute you. But go right ahead and share what your interest is in relation to the school. I know he can hear me, Kate.
I do believe the difficulty John is having is actually being able to hear us. We can see him, but I don't believe that he can hear you.
Okay. Well, I think we may have to come back to him. I put the camera on John so we can get his attention. John, are you able to hear us?
If you can hear me or not, I can't hear anyone.
Oh, he cannot hear us. That's the problem.
So he needs to turn your mic up.
So he needs to turn his mic up on his end. That's the problem. He's got his volume down. But while we're waiting to get these technical difficulties done with John, I'm going to come back to him. I can hear you, John. Can you hear me? Okay. Well, we'll come back to you. We got a special guest with us. Can you
hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you. Can you hear us? All right. Well, we're struggling here with John, but we'll come back to him. Unmute your mic, brother. Okay, this is Gary. He's with us today as well. We've been talking about partnering over in North Carolina, and he knows about some of the things that we're doing. And so I just want him to kind of share what his thoughts will be about us coming over there doing the school in North Carolina.
Yeah, thanks for having me on today, Antonio. Yeah, actually, I think it would be an excellent idea to come over. I know a few people and actually look to get involved in this. And basically, I've had some connects and contacts, and they're basically waiting on us at this point in time. So, and me and Antonio have been talking back and forth now for about 6 months to a year, maybe. And I think it's a great idea. I'd love to be a part of it. I have the sheriff of North Carolina I'm sorry, Wake County on board to join us, and just looking forward to doing it. Currently, I'm doing real estate down in North Carolina and also in Indianapolis, Indiana. Just starting to reinvest again. Been in real estate now for close to about 15 years, so looking forward to just starting a and just to kind of help the community out. So I definitely look forward to being a part of this. So.
Yeah, we're bouncing back and forth to try to deal with some of the technical difficulties, but I'm come back to Henry. Henry, tell us a little bit about the school and why you feel like it's important to have the school.
Can you hear me?
Well, thank you. Again, the school, the way that we like to put it there in the building is sort of a school with a museum, a school inside of a museum during the day, and a school inside of a community center during the evening. We say that because we have a Black History Museum inside of the school, and it's pretty awesome. I think pretty dynamic, in fact. So you have audio and visual art displayed there in the building. You have a nursing college there in the building that will be assisting with nursing your children while they're there. You also have after school a boxing program, which we call an anger management program, where we allow kids to take their anger out inside the ring instead of out in the streets. We also have, we're actually looking forward to, and I'll say that it may be better to say that, to working with an organization that I think that you're familiar with, that assists with applying what we call vocational skill training. We actually call it the industrial city, but it's where you have pre-apprentice programs teaching young adults how to become plumbers, electricians, general contracting skills, working towards a full apprentice program after hours as well. We have George Hill, former Indiana Pacer, who actually graduated from the same building, sponsoring our gymnasium. We just had an exciting announcement of some things coming our way when it comes to our indoor swimming pool. It's being endorsed by a really world-renowned organization. So that announcement will be coming out soon. We have a former heavyweight champion, Layman Brewster, Buster Douglas, and a few other former heavyweight champs that are actually sponsoring that boxer program I was telling you about. So it's trying to make sure that we're keeping our young minds busy during school and after school, while also taking care of their older brothers and sisters, moms and dads, by offering them jobs and skilled trades where they can start their own business, develop their own talents, and in order to seek employment or again to start their own business. So it's a school with wraparound services. And when you look at the young second grader and know that you're helping her out by helping out her family members, by helping developing their lives holistically, it's something that's just really exciting to be doing right now. Our community needs it as a whole.
Well, absolutely. We thank you for sharing such powerful testimony. Uh, can you just give us a reason, like why you started the school? Because a lot of people don't know why you would start the school. So can you just talk about your background and why you would have this passion?
I'm a former Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department homicide detective. My father was a police officer on the same department. My grandfather was a homicide detective on the same department. In fact, my grandfather has a plaque downtown that says that over 32 years, he solved 100% of his homicides. And so we have we have a long history in our neighborhood. As a homicide detective, I was seeing too many young men murdered. I would walk on the scene. I would see people that looked like me. I would go after and pursue the assailants that looked like me and my family members, and it was just hitting too close to home. And when you have the opportunity to actually be interviewed, to do the interviewing of a suspect in a murder and other serious violent crimes, you'll hear the actual hardcore truth of why they carried out the actions that they did. And I think that sometimes it goes unrecognized how much information that we get directly from the sources about what it would take to help change people's lives in their communities. And you would hear some of these excuses where they would justify actually taking a person's life. And you go, we have to do something differently. We have to make change in a different way. We can do better than what we've been doing. And sometimes you can continue to have your hand out, and you can be appreciative when someone's giving you a hand up. But there's also some things that we can do day by day to take care of our own families, to get involved, to get engaged, and just to say, you know what, change has come, change is here now, and get involved in your own community. And as a detective, I know that it should be about solutions, not always about reactions, but what can we do to try to help solve some of these issues that are truly plaguing our community? And I believe if education and jobs is what it takes. Him by Her stands for helping improve mankind by healing every race. It's an all-inclusive program. We really believe that it takes a village to raise a child, and we are the village. We're in the middle of Forest Manor and Brightwood. Those are villages. Hallville, that's a village, right? And so we are already raising our children. What values are we instilling in them right now? What roles can we play just to do better for ourselves, for our families, and for our friends? And I think this is an opportunity to stand behind and say, you know what? I want my child to go to that school. I want them enrolled there because they care. My child comes home every day saying that Him by Her, they care. That's the message that we want to send to the community, because we do care. And so we're asking for your help. We're asking for the community's help by enrolling their young scholars and get them prepared for an August 17th in-person class setting.
Okay, that's awesome, man. I appreciate you sharing that. I didn't really understand that extensiveness to the background of what you're doing. So I think that's just phenomenal. I have on the line with us Representative John Bartlett, who's also, I think, the chair of your board. And he's with us today. And I think we had a little bit of technical difficulties earlier, but we're trying to work through them. But John, can you share with us, I know that you have a lot going on in your district. Can you share with us the importance of a school like this in your district?
Absolutely. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you just fine. Go right
Okay,
ahead.
good. All right. Actually, the Him by Her school is not in my district, but it is close to my district. So when we were looking for a spot, we kind of wanted it in my district, but we needed to meet the people where they were. And it's 46218 butts up against my district. So we are going with that. And it's just, we need to stop the violence and change the mindset of the Northeast side. And my district is certainly in the Northeast side. And so like it's our endeavor to be that catalyst that brings all this together and as a family. And that's kind of the way the HBH is. We operate as a family to make this happen and bring everything together.
Well, we know, John, that there's a lot of crime, and I do stand corrected. I know it butts up against your district, but I know there's a lot of crime in 46218, and I think the area is really struggling for solutions. So just to have you guys involved with this effort, I think is just phenomenal. And so we appreciate all the efforts. And I'm gonna come back to Henry. Like Henry, why do you think this school will be different from other schools? I mean, you know, we already got a lot of schools in that district. What makes this school special?
That's Harry, not Henry.
Henry,
It's
As you
Harry.
drive by these massive buildings,
why does it say Henry on my side? I'm sorry. It's Harry. Sorry about
yes,
that.
it's Harry. That's quite all right. You have a lot of massive buildings in our community that we call schools and that we call churches.
I'm saying Henry.
And at the end of the day, they close down at 2:30. All right, those great facilities, 2:30, 3:30 p.m. they go vacant, and our children have no place to go. They don't have people that are listening to them when they're trying to tell you what it is that you know can make a change in our lives, because we closed the doors on them. Our school, Him by Her Collegiate School for the Arts, we're open after 3:30, right? We have a gymnasium, we have the swimming pool that is being renovated right now. We have the different wraparound services that will be offered to them and their families. We're doing our best to keep young minds, young Black lives that we all know that matter. We're trying to make sure that people know that that is exactly what the difference in comparison to other schools. We have a culture relevant curriculum. That means that we're basically teaching your children exactly where they're at, right? It's not the same Eurocentric model that some are familiar with or accustomed to when being educated at their schools. We take the time to find out why that child might be angry, why that child might be further behind than another. We take the time that it takes to put your child on the right path so they prepare to pass the state exams every year and become the collegiate scholars that they deserve to grow and become. And so we believe that it's important that if you care about a young life, that you take the time to get out of your bubble, that we all tend to drive away from our work locations and our own little bubbles and tend to forget to look back past those people that you were driving by on the highway and realize that, you know what, those lives matter. They need our help. You might not live in that neighborhood, but these kids are screaming for our help in ways that we see on the news every day. And we have to stop passing them by. And so this school is there to show that we care. It's not putting down any other schools. It's not putting down any other school systems. It's talking about what we're doing. There's a pre-K in the building. If you have a kindergarten, first grade, second grade student, but you also have a younger brother or sister to that child, well, we have a pre-K in the building, one-stop option. You can drop them both off at the building, right? We have a lot of great supporters that are involved and have been involved in what we've been creating there. But we're asking for families to turn around and say, you know what, we need to be a part of that. We asked for it, we prayed for it, and it's been delivered to you. And are you prepared to change, turn around away from locations that's been failing your children? We're a non-for-profit charter school. We're not for-profit. Ask your school if they're for-profit or not. And if they are, then please understand what their bottom line is their bottom line and that you're not part of it. For us, we can't make money off the back of your children. The funds that are raised in that building are there to sustain the building and to be poured into the programs. We care about every single life in that neighborhood. Black, white, brown makes no difference. And so we're prepared to take that stance at any time that we're called to order. So we believe holistically that's what makes us different than some other schools. There are some other schools in this country that just really don't have the best intentions for our children. And so we know that we do, and we're prepared to prove it.
Well, that's awesome. And I want to say if someone has a desire to want to get a hold of you in relations to the school, how can they get involved?
Well, you can always call 317-918-7799. You can go visit our website at www.himbyherschool.org. Our foundation's website is himbyherfoundation.com. If you would like to learn more about who we are and what we stand for and how long we've been around. We are a pro-IPS organization. We're for public schools. And we just think that it's important that you do reach out and that you realize in these COVID-19 environment that we actually have a building that doesn't have the walls that other schools have, right? We're busy trying to tear down walls, and we actually end up purchasing a building that was an open concept building that doesn't have walls up, so we can actually space your children out. We currently have the population K through 2 that, according to the Marion County Health Department, that's 0.02 risk when it comes to the age groups that we're dealing with. And so according to the executive orders and CDC guidelines, that age group is even allowed to be in the building without wearing masks, but we still put him by her mask on the staff and on the children. We scan their temperatures for without any contact with a thermometer, but we do scan them for temperature checks as they come into the building. They are brought upstairs to the 3rd floor, where they remain on that 3rd floor, where there's indoor playgrounds. There's vocational skill training for young adults, where we're teaching those soft skills to them, teaching them how to become young entrepreneurs, trying to get them to aspire to be an adult someday that owns their own business. We have a lot of unique programs on the 3rd floor. We even have a game room where we have 9 different PlayStations, right, for them on the 3rd floor. So we keep it fun, but we keep their education in mind, and that's our sole focus during school hours. And so we're just could not be more delighted to bring all the different programs that we have into that building. And we're hoping that people will turn around and enroll now.
Okay. Now, before we get off the air, I just wanted to talk to you about this new adventure. I think it will be extremely unique as it relates to how far as the food in the school. I know over periods of time, the vocational taken out of the school. And I like John talk about his experience and how important it was when he was growing up about the skilled trades being involved in education.
Well, I went to school 37 right next door to Juvenile Center, and left there and went to Arsenal Technical High School, where I majored in auto mechanics. In 1965, 66 timeframe, I was one of the top mechanics in the state of Indiana. I think I was voted number 1 and number 2 in the state of Indiana. But learning to work with your hands, if you so often hear Harry Dunn talk about working with your hands, and that's when you learn to take care of your family, when you learn to take care of yourself, when you can work with your hands. College degrees, those jobs, they trendy. But if you're an electrician, a carpenter, a pipe fitter, if you can build, if you're a cement finisher, if you can build, you can always make money, and you can always take care of you and your family. And that is huge. And that's one of the things that we want to learn and be about at Him by Her. When you leave there, I don't care if you're the father, the mother, the child, the pre-K, the K, or whatever, we want to have something there for that family, no matter what age group it is. And the industrial city that we will have there at Him by Her community is going to address the needs of the parents. The nursing program there is going to address the needs of the parents. But learning to work with your hands, learning to do something with your hands, learning to be self-sustaining is something that we certainly want to to emphasize at him by her.
Well, John, I think that gives us a great understanding of how we need to proceed, because back in the day, I think a lot of people worked in the skilled trades and they were able to provide for their families. And as the factories moved away, we know that it's an extreme struggle for people to stay employed. I mean, sometimes they work and sometimes they not. So to have a skill and be able to perform that, I think is great. And I'm gonna ask this last question to Henry, like Harry. Man, I ain't got my messing up. Hey, you know what? Harry, lunch is on me. Next time I see you, but tell us if we on the east side, near east side, we're able to service for people.
I'm not too for sure if everybody else could hear what was just said. I was I'm struggling here with some technical difficulty hearing exactly what you said, Antonio. But if we're speaking about the vocational skill training classes, I can speak directly to that. I do believe that it's vital. It's important to know how to work with your hands. If you're going to school and then all of a sudden you, at 17 years old, 18 years old, you're put out of school and they told you that your mind isn't of value enough to pass the grade, to pass the test. And then you turn back around and realize that you also don't know how to work with your hands, then you almost feel like an incomplete person. I mean, what are you supposed to do when someone told you your mind's not any good and your hands are no good? Then what are you left with? I can tell a factual story of how my great grandfather, not having the skill sets of reading and writing, was able to build his house from the ground up, right? And so you'll be amazed at what a person can accomplish with on the job hands training. And so hands on is really, really important. You could put a brick to mortar and build a home in ways that, and it always has since this country was formed. We've shown that if you don't know how to speak the language of that particular country or here in the United States, that you can still take on a job. You can still own your own company. There are people that come from different countries, from all around the world into the United States, that don't know how to read and write the English language, but yet they start their own businesses. We have to give our community the opportunity to start their own business, teach them how to work with their hands. If you become that plumber, if you become that individual that is an expert in heating and cooling, then maybe a family member of yours, your wife, maybe even like my wife here, my household is my better 3/4. And she's definitely a partner of mine in multiple different ways. But she supports me. She has my back, and she helps me with my paperwork. She helps me think clearly. And those are some of the things that you get as an entrepreneur. You find out who your supporters are, what your support system is around you. But when you can put your hands to work and have that type of support system in your background, you can become a real powerful influence in your community. And that's something that I've seen with you, Antonio. And all the tools that you brought to the table, and being an entrepreneur yourself, and look at such a powerhouse that you are for our community. And you're just a prime example of taking skill sets and working with your own hands and teaching other people how to do just that. So I give you thanks, and I'm sure your community does as well, for offering these type of skill trades. I just have a tremendous amount of respect for what you're doing, how you continue to find ways to persevere. And to teach other people that they can do it. If they look at you and know that you can do it, then they can do it as well. And I think you send that strong message to everybody. And I want you to keep it up, man.
Well, thank you so much. And I appreciate all what you have shared on today. Certainly, this is a powerful show, and people need to know and understand that this school is needed, desperately needed in our community. Because I know for a fact that these gentlemen care. They care about what's going on in our community. And so we need to make sure that when we find people like legislators such as Representative John Bartlett, Harry Dunn, we need to know that we need to make sure that we support them. So I'm saying, before we go to the commercial break, what I'm saying is I want you to give the information again before we go on commercial break to ask for the K through 12 people. You know, if you got, and just let them know what the ages are so that we can get a response back.
Okay, and again, thank you for that. It's at www.himbyherschool.org or at himbyherfoundation.com. You can call us at 317-918-7799, or you can physically arrive there at the building to enroll your child. We're at 4501 East 32nd Street. Our school leader, Sandra Town and Ron Clark, will be there to assist in enrolling your children at the building. And so I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you very much.
All right, guys. Appreciate you. Thank you for coming on. I'm not kicking nobody. You guys can stay on with us if you want to stay on with us. But we're getting ready to go to our commercial break. You have been watching Black Power Presents. I'm your host, Antonio Lipscomb, and we'll be back in a moment.
Intro play. Black people need to own our own businesses, which will provide an economic base. Teach our youth to become self-sufficient. Learn how to maximize our political affiliations and by 18 seconds, justice reform. You just tuned in to Black Power Presents with your host, Antonio Lipscomb. Come on, let's talk. And you're live.
And we're back. Antonio Lipscomb. I am your host, and I'm excited to be here today on another broadcast, Black Power Presents. And look like I have a special guest again. I guess he's not a guest, he's starting to become a regular. Dr. Lionel Rush have come on to be with us, and we're excited about him being on. But we want to talk to this brother-in-law of mine that we have been talking for years. I mean, we've been talking for years, and we've been trying to figure out how can we partner together to expand what we're doing. I don't know if you all know, but in Indianapolis, I'm the only one that I'm aware of through NCCR has a nationally accredited school for the skilled trades. And so being that we have a national agenda, we want to try to establish ourselves in other areas. And so right now we have Gary Pearson that's with us. And I'd just like for you to go ahead and share with us some of your thoughts, man.
Yeah, no, I think like I said earlier, I think earlier is definitely a great idea that you came up with, and we sat around and we talked about it several different times and several different ways to expand. Basically, the idea that me and you had both had kind of generated from the beginning, and so just with us sitting around talking and throughout over the years, and we just tried to figure out the right way and the right time, and I guess a lot of it's just about timing on when we can or can't do something. And fortunately, I've ran into some great people since I moved to. Just a little background on me: I was originally from Indianapolis, Indiana, born and raised, and so I understand everything that's going on in the area, and I still keep up with it. But about 10 years ago, I moved to Raleigh, North Carolina, and so we were looking to actually expand your program to Raleigh, North Carolina. Well, I ran into some good people, including the sheriff of Wake County, which is in Raleigh, North Carolina. Ran into him, and me and him we're real good friends now. And so I kind of presented the program to him, and he decided that it was definitely excellent, and he wanted to jump on board. And so now we just need to get everything down on paper, present it to him, and he's looking forward to being a part of this. So I think it's a blessing, just to be able to expand and for the common goal of the people, and basically to just to advance, our culture, um, and to help our neighborhoods out, and just so where we can and generally break the cycle. I mean, that's the goal, is just to break the cycle, give us the opportunity that we may not have had.
But to expand, I'm sorry about that. Our kids and
Keep going. So, yeah. So it's kind of where we're at.
Well, I think that one of the problems we're looking at, I know Dr. Rush can talk about this. We have a problem all across this country. I don't think it's just limited to one particular area. And Dr. Rush, I know you have been watching these type of problems, especially problems with mass incarceration. And me and Dr. Rush have worked extensively to try to help get these things fixed. And I want you to talk, Dr. Rush, about what you think, far as what we're doing over in the jail, and something of what you would say about how expanding this thing. Do you think it would be something that we would need to do?
Well, we absolutely need to do it. This is one of our problems, is that for the last 20 years, America only has 350 plus million people in it, which makes it just 4% of the population of the world, 7.8 billion people. But we incarcerate 25 to 30% of the prisoners of the world. Dr. King talked about capitalism, militarism, and racism. And the way that this incorporation figures in has to do with using the style of militarism, put a whole lot of money in order to promote capitalism, but it's tied to racism. Black and brown bodies have been the victim of this kind of thing. And so then we have this terrible incident in Minnesota, 8 minutes and 46 seconds on the neck of George Floyd. And the world explodes, and people start to challenge this whole ideal of militarizing police department, and the whole ideal of this build bigger jail and lock them up, hire more cops. If you hire more police officers, you got to pay for more uniforms, got to pay for more cars, got to pay for more guns. So all the cottage industry that comes after it. So that's where we were. And so there's been a change in the last 8 weeks. But now you have a president that finds himself sinking in the polls. And I mean sinking in states like Florida, all the swing states, and even just dead even in Texas. Who'd have thunk it? So what does he do? He authorized those coastal guards and militarized them and send them into Portland and threaten to send them into Chicago and do that whole other thing. And he wants to once again run on a law and order theme. We've had too much of that. It has not worked out. We incarcerate more people than any industrialized nation. It's wrong-headed, it's thoughtless, it's racistic. It just simply doesn't work. So people like yourself, Brother Antonio, and my dear brother whom I have not met, who's taking a look at that and say, what do we do with people who may or may not have been wrongfully accused, or who may have been accused rightfully, but after the second file? What did I mean by the second file? When the country steals everything out of certain zip codes and leave only their mayhem and guns and drugs, then yes, that's the kind of activity that many will get into. When they purposely do that, it's institutionalized racism, and then they accuse them of being criminals after everything else is eviscerated and taken out of those places. So then it leaves people like you and others to come along and say, okay, these people have paid their debt to society, however wrong they were by being put in there in the first place. And so now you got this government that won't let them vote in Florida. They won't let them get on Section 8. Won't let them get on any other things, and shut down all the job opportunities. And so this been a heck of a fight. So I was glad to hear my dear brother speak about the possibility of having a symbiotic relationship with the sheriff in Raleigh, Durham, Raleigh, North Carolina. And I think that we have a good working relationship with the sheriff that's here, with the prosecutor, who tends to understand this, and we have to work together to see how we can right this wrong. But then at some stage, I think all of this we're doing right now is on the back end. We got to go to the front end. We got to go to the front end, and we got to say, you don't go to the second grade class and put our kids in jail. You don't put them out of in-school suspension and out-of-school suspension, and you don't create this school to prison pipeline in the first place. And you give. So I think that's great stuff.
Hey, Dr. Rush, you have encouraged me to ask you and John to come back on next week to talk about this mass incarceration problem. And I think John has some legislation and stuff that he's trying to do something about this. But as there's a caller, Larry's called in, so I want to go ahead and get his question out the way. I know we're running out of time, but let's sneak a call in here real quick.
I can't hear him.
Antonio, is it possible that I could share something while we're trying to get Larry?
concentrate on getting back and forth and going to work. And then this station saw the death trap about going to school so they can benefit more on our kids being out of school and
Okay, Larry. Thank you for your call. He's always says a lot. You know, whether you agree or disagree, Larry's got a point that he's making, and I do want to apologize to our Facebook family. We know that we were not able to connect his question with the broadcast, and look like we're almost running out of time. But I want to give Representative John Bartlett a couple of minutes just to kind of talk about what he's doing, because I think what Larry was saying, I think we need to give way to Representative Bartlett, and maybe that could help. I know Larry knows John, and we can have this conversation further. We do want to extend the conversation over to next week, but go ahead, Representative John Bartlett. Let's see what you got to say.
In last session, in House Session 2020, I introduced the bill, House Bill 1140, dealing with criminal justice reform. Now, I know there's a movement on to defund the police. I don't think that's the right way to go. I think our criminal justice system is broken, and I've said this for the last 3-4 years. We use the same criminal justice system today that we used when Jesse James was robbing trains. We've tweaked it some, but basically it's the same thing. 97% of the people in federal prison and 94% of the people in state prisons are there due to plea bargain. They did not get a trial. And the way they get you to agree to that plea bargain is if they say, Elder Rush, you arrested for armed robbery. You say, well, I didn't do anything. Well, if you plead guilty, you're out of here in 6 months. If you go to court, you're looking at 10 to 25. So anybody in their right mind would take 6 months as opposed to the 10 to 25. It's not illegal to do that, but it's wrong. It's morally wrong. If I didn't do anything, I should not be accused of doing anything. If I'm accused, I should have that opportunity to go to court and prove my innocence and not go to prison on a plea bargain. You make lazy lawyers and lazy prosecutors when you do that, and at the backs of us. Also, we need a state-ran criminal justice system so that when there's a police action shooting, your colleagues don't say you didn't do nothing wrong. You go before a board that is across the state, citizens, psychologists, medical folk who come together and make this determination. And it's not me taking care of my buddy, a fellow law officer, take care of a fellow law officer. You need some law officers involved because they need to understand the job of the police officer. But then we need some citizens in that mix. And I've also asked for the president of NAACP or his or her designee to be a part of that Criminal Justice Commission, because we need to start looking at what's happening to us and stop being timid. Speak up, speak out, and I shared this with the governor the other day. If we were in a meeting with him, and I said, there's an African proverb that says, if you don't invite the children in to enjoy the warmth of the village, then they will burn it and enjoy the warmth from the village. So it's our choice. Do we want to include them and bring them in and let them enjoy the warmth of that village? Or do you want to continue to exclude them and get what you got downtown?
I have a question of Representative Bartlett.
Yes, sir.
Representative Bartlett, I just fussed at you because I trust you implicitly and I'm mad. How in the world is the Senate going to go home when we just lost 1/3 of all productivity in America, and now they didn't want to extend $600 for these people across America when we're at 156,000 deaths? This is just crazy to me.
Pastor Rush, listen to this. Your United States Senate, their salary is $84 plus an hour of taxpayer dollars. $175,000 a year divided by 52 weeks, divided by 40 is $84.15 an hour that they make. And they're there spending our dollars for this salary. I don't care who the elected official is, they're your employee. I don't care who the elected official is, it's your employee. They work for you. Your tax dollar pays all of that. And they don't care enough about you to make sure that you have when your tax is in about 15 cents an hour.
Well, I appreciate all of what's being shared here today. I do want to say for the radio listening audience, we are working feverishly to try to get some of these technical difficulties dealt with. But I want to thank all the Radio One listening audience as well as our Facebook family. Listen, I do truly believe that this deserves another conversation on next week. And I think that we should be pounding on the door of this economic problem far as over and mass incarceration. I do call it an economic problem because people are making money when they in and they making money when they get out. Matter of fact, they make money before they get in, just on projections on how many people are going to come into the criminal justice system. So I think that this deserves a continual conversation. And I'm going to say this in my conclusion. I do believe that the faith-based community as well as the state needs to take over some part of this big corporation. I would say is not necessarily a justice system. It's a corporation, I would call it. And we need to figure out how we can get this done. Well, gentlemen, I think we have ran out of time. I just want to thank you guys for coming. I thank you guys for listening. We're passionate about this broadcast, Black Power Presents. We have what I consider legends on this show, and we just want to show how much we appreciate their wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Well, you've been listening to us again, Black Radio Power Presents. Stay tuned. We'll be back next week. I'm your host, Antonio Lipscomb, and I have to tell you, peace.
And please vote.
And please vote.
All right, so your outro is playing now?
Okay, I can't hear it.